All right, preppers, it finally happened. I got pulled over while carrying my firearm concealed. So, I haven't been pulled over since about 2010. And I did prepare and I did role play for this situation of being pulled over while carrying concealed. So what did I do? How did it go? I'm going to tell you exactly what I did and what you should do too. Okay, prepper. So first off, you're going to need to know your state's laws about if you need to notify the officer if you are carrying concealed. I would guess more states than not do require you to inform the officer that you are carrying when you have an interaction. For some really weird reason, California does not make that so. It's baffling to me because California has some of the strictest gun rules and laws, but we don't have to inform the police officer that we're carrying. This is upside down, topsy-turvy world. I don't get it. It's awful. It's also awful practice, and I'll tell you why. So building on to what I just said, even if you're not required to notify the officer that you're carrying, it's good practice that you do so. A lot of cops are going to be able to spot if you're printing. They will look at your waistband, and you can potentially avoid that situation by being up front with the officer right away and not getting pulled out of the car, him or her putting their gun in your face because they suspect that you're carrying. So letting them know that you're carrying, even if you don't, it's good officer safety, and it's also going to be appreciated by the police officer who is stopping you. So I've done my research. I've watched other YouTube videos. I've even talked to some of my friends who are in law enforcement, and I said, hey, Bob, how would you want somebody to act? What would you want them to say if you were to approach their vehicle and they needed to inform you, or they wanted to inform you that they were carrying concealed? What's the best way to do this? And this is what I came up with. Step one, you see the lights flick on behind you, and you have that oh crap moment. You pull over to the side where it is safe, out of traffic. First thing I would recommend that you do before the officer even gets out of their car is roll down the windows. Roll down the windows and put on your interior lights, especially if it is at night. I do have tint on my windows, and an officer might come up and they're gonna be a little bit more on edge because they can't see my actions in the car. Rolling down the windows, putting on your dome light, and keeping your hands on the steering wheel until the officer approaches, they're gonna appreciate that. They're gonna know that you're compliant and that you're gonna play ball with the traffic stop. So the second thing is when they do approach your window, both hands are on the steering wheel. Hello, I'm so-and-so with California Highway Patrol, who's the one that stopped me. Can I see your license and registration, please? And I said, yes, officer. Before I do anything, I would like to let you know I will keep my hands on the steering wheel, and I am a CCW holder, and I am carrying my firearm in my waistband appendix. Notice I said firearm and not gun. I try not to use the word gun in any kind of training that I do. When I train people, when I talk about firearms, I don't like to say the word gun. Cops are trained to say gun when they see a gun. Gun is a keyword. It's a key up word. It's going to get them keyed up. So when I say firearm, I'd rather say firearm, weapon, or pistol before I use the G word. It is, if you've ever watched badge cam videos and there's a bunch of cops chasing some scumbag through the park or whatever, and the guy reaches and pulls a gun, you're going to hear every officer say gun, gun, gun before they light him up. So gun is a no-no. Firearm, it even sounds more professional. So let's stick to the word firearm when you get pulled over. So I kept both hands on the steering wheel. He introduced himself. He said, let me see your license and registration, please. And I said, yes, officer. before I do anything, I'll keep my hands on the steering wheel. I want to inform you that I'm a CCW holder, and I am carrying concealed in my waistband, I am carrying appendix. And then I said, how would you like me to proceed? He said, thank you very much. He said, sir, where is your driver's license? I said, it's in my back left pocket. He said, okay, please keep your right hand on the steering wheel, and with your left hand, retrieve your license from your back pocket. I keep my CCW right next to my driver's license. Once I pulled my wallet out, I took this hand off the steering wheel, clear and slow, pulled out my license and my CCW, put the wallet, dropped the wallet, and I handed it to him, and I put both hands back on the steering wheel. Now at this time, he had a second unit covering him. And there's something to be said about that, and we'll get to in a minute. But once I gave him my ID and he saw that I had a CCW, you sort of felt the tension drop tenfold. He knew that he was dealing with somebody who's not a scumbag, someone who's been vetted, had a background process, isn't a convicted felon, not a drug addict. So you got to put your feet, you got to put your feet in the shoes of law enforcement. When they're pulling you over and they're stopping you, they have no idea if you're fucking Joey fuckface and you're in and out of jail your whole life, and you're a drug addict, a wife beater, you know, a scumbag, or you're on their side. You're a law-abiding citizen. You respect the police. You respect firearms. You carry concealed legally. So he doesn't know what he's walking into, and that cop. That's why cops are very cautious on stops. You'll see them give very clear, concise commands, and it's when these dumb idiots don't comply, or they start reaching, or they start non-complying, that's when they're going to get pulled out of the car, tased, or shot. So put yourself in the cop's shoes. They don't know who you are and your history. So here in California, you have to have your firearms listed on your CCW. I know other states. So when I got my CCW, I basically got certified with 240 cals and 1.9mm, and those model numbers, serial numbers are printed on my CCW. So I gave him my CCW, and the cop at this time had every right to ask me to step out of the car to inspect my firearm. He didn't do this. Probably most of them wouldn't. You know, you're up front with them that you're carrying a gun. They're not going to be counting the serial numbers and cross-checking it, unless it's a hard ass, unless it's someone who maybe isn't in favor of the Second Amendment. But most cops that I've ever met, and I've met a lot in my career and my ex being law enforcement, most cops, I'd say 99.9% of them are very pro CCW and citizens arming themselves. If he were to ask me, sir, can I inspect your firearm? I would ask him again, how would you like me to proceed? Now, if he said, could you please remove the firearm from your waistband sitting in the seat, I would say I'm not comfortable doing that for two reasons. One, it's bad officer safety. And two, remember how I said another officer came up and was standing next to that officer once he waved him over because I let him know I was carrying concealed. Well, my guess is that that officer was standing on my rear quarter panel, watching over my shoulder, my hand movements. Now, what if the lead officer and him and I are having a conversation, and the other second officer couldn't hear our conversation, and that officer said, sir, can you please slowly remove your firearm from your waistband for inspection? And I go reaching, and all that guy sees is a gun butt come up, and me reaching it, he is gonna light me up. I'm gonna get shot because he's not hearing this conversation. So the way I would handle it is, officer, can I please step out of the car? And I'd say, I would be comfortable if you took it from my waistband. If you're comfortable, I will take it from my waistband. If he does it from my waistband, that's fine. He'll do it the way he wants to do it. If I'm gonna take it from my waistband, what I'm gonna do is drop the magazine, clear the chamber, lock back the slide, and present him with the firearm. From there, he does his thing. He gives it back to me. I reload it, put it away. But again, he did not ask to inspect my firearm here in California. If you're carrying concealed and you need to instruct law enforcement or inform law enforcement that you are carrying, these are the steps that I would take. This is from research of my own, and like I said, talking to some of my law enforcement friends. This will go a long way. I've actually heard a few police officers say that I've never given a ticket to someone carrying legally, or someone who informed me that they had a CCW. Because again, guys, they know immediately that, you know, you may not love law enforcement, but you're at least on their side. I respect law enforcement. I think cops are great. I love police, and I really respect the job they're doing. It's a tough job. So when you're giving that information to them, when you're letting them know you're carrying, when you're complying, they're going to see that. So you kind of are going to have that get out of jail free card almost, because like I said, the cop knows who you are, your history to an extent, and you're playing ball with them. So guys, that's the way I'm going to do it in the future. And that's the way I think everyone watching this video should proceed if and when they are stopped for a traffic violation or whatever. That's it, guys. This isn't really a prepper video, but I know a lot of preppers and a lot of people that watch this channel are pros 2A, and they do carry, and they are avid firearms collectors and whatnot. So guys, be safe out there and refuse to be a victim. Thanks for watching.